Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and today I'm going to be talking about the second game for the Guardian system that Renegade Game Studios put out. If you're familiar with Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, that was the first one that was put out. If you're not familiar with Power Rangers, I got a ton of those on this channel, so by all means, take your pick to see how that exactly plays. But for this one, we're going to be going and doing a breakdown of the Joes that come in the initial core box for G.I. Joe Mission Critical. So simply enough, everything that I'm going to be talking about today is right here in front of me. Well, except for this guy right here. This is a special edition Snake Eyes, the retro version of him, and I'm going to talk about him, when I get to his character, when I go down through the breakdown. But these 5 characters right here, you have Duke, you have Scarlett, you have Stalker, you have CoverGirl, and you have Snake Eyes. These all appear within the core box, along with the 6 vehicles that I'm going to be talking about. And then, of course, there you're going to find the Cobra Troopers, the Crimson Guards, 2 lieutenants, 1 nemesis, and 1 boss. So the core system has a ton of stuff in it, which you should definitely check out regardless. There's a lot of expansions as well. I'm going to cover those in a later G.I. Joe breakdown. But for right now, we're sticking to just the core Joes from that box. And as always with my breakdowns, anything that I talk about in terms of combos that you would be pulling off using their abilities and their cards generally will stay within the group themselves, because if you have the core system and that's all you have, then they're just going to be the ones that interact with each other. There are other expansions for G.I. Joe Mission Critical. Again, I'll talk about those at a later video, but this also does have a good crossover feature for Power Rangers. And if you haven't seen that already, I did make a video about that recently that talked about the vehicles, the deployment system, and of course, how to cross over other Guardian systems into G.I. Joe Mission Critical. G.I. Joe is the codename for America's daring, highly trained Special Missions Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world. You ready? Let's gear up, soldier. Yo, Joe! Conrad S. Hauser, codename Duke. A seasoned soldier, Duke is highly capable of assessing situations and coming up with quick solutions for victory. Troops follow him without question. High-ranking officers respect and listen to him. When he bellows orders, even seasoned generals follow his command. Duke has earned his place among the high elites and is a name that Cobra fears. His special ability, First Sergeant. Once per battle, a hero of your choice may reroll any number of dice during an attack. This is very much leader abilities. Most like Red Rangers, if you're playing Heroes of the Grid, or big leaders or whatever, have some ability of a reroll in their initial either power or something throughout their cards, and Duke is no exception to that. He has a lot of great other abilities as well, but of course his ability right here to give a hero an ability to do a reroll is absolutely amazing, because if you completely whiff an attack, Duke is there to get your back. His deck breaks down to 1 X energy card, 6 0 energy, 2 1 energy, and 1 3 energy card. You'll find 6 attacks, 2 maneuvers, and 2 reactions, and the standard Type A 3-4-3 shield breakdown. Mentors have this ability. Again, lead rangers and lead heroes are going to have this ability. Discipline. Again, 0 cost reaction card. Play this card when any hero performs an attack. That hero may reroll any number of dice during the attack. Basically, it's giving him another one of his once per battle abilities right there. So you have something rolled and it doesn't do very good, he can use his First Sergeant in order to do another reroll. Say maybe then you get more misses or it's just not as good. You play a Discipline in order to put your soldiers back in the line, in order to be able to get those hard-hitting numbers, in order to be able to defeat the soldiers. Disciplines are always good to have, great cards to have on the back burner, whether it be to just kind of maybe discard something if you need it, but of course to have that extra reroll to do all that extra damage. I think Charge is one of my favorite cards that Duke has, just because it's so simple. 0 cost, always amazing. 2 dice attack, gain 1 energy. Really, this is a card that helps out everybody in the fight. It gains an energy, and you always want to gain that energy because you're going to need that in order to perform power weapon abilities or strong weapons, special attacks, things along that ways. It's a 2 dice attack at 0 cost, which at that point you can do some pretty decent damage. And heck, even if he rolls 2 misses, he can use Discipline on himself because it's a hero, he can count. And then his ability will also count towards him as well. So he can re-roll those 2 dice should it go awry. Would you? Probably not. Really, the gaining of the energy is really, really good. But this is something that you definitely want to be able to hold on to and play as often as you can. It is a 2 shield card. You have 2 of these in the deck. So as soon as you get them, make sure you get them onto the table. Next, Roll Out, which is something I'm expecting to see in a Transformer game. Nah. 0 cost maneuver. I'm going to say it as much as I can. I'm sorry. 0 cost maneuver card. Use vehicles at -1 cost this turn. Another hero may immediately play a card. Fantastic, because vehicles are a brand new thing for G.I. Joe Mission Critical. The Joes don't have Zords to be able to summon into battle, so they have their vehicles in order to go and roll over and fly over and do all that crazy stuff into Cobra. And to have the ability for a -1 cost is absolutely amazing, because you may have something on the field that's 4, 5 costs, and you're just like one short, maybe two, because I think there's 2 rollouts in this as well. You can only play, well, no, it says another hero may play. So he will not be able to play 2 rollouts in a row. Wouldn't that be a broken thing? If he could play 2 rollouts and reduce it by 2, and then another card is played, oh, that would have been awesome. But they put another hero may play a card, so that means someone else other than Duke can play. But the -1 does continue on for this particular turn. So if one of the other heroes was planning on using a vehicle within their turn, this will then save them on the cost for future vehicles to come. All out attack. 1 energy, 3 dice attack. You may reroll any number of dice during this attack. A lot of Duke's cards are very simple. That is very easy to understand, very easy to figure out when you're going to use it. Hey, I need to defeat something right now. I can spend the 1 energy that I gained through charge after using those 2 dice, and then spend that 1 energy to do an all-out attack. I mean, Duke's a soldier. He knows what he's doing. He can see what's in front of him, and he goes in and he takes care of business. That's exactly what a card like this is. And the reroll will apply only to this particular attack, but it can happen before you play other things. So you would do the all-out attack. If it doesn't do good, you'll reroll. If that doesn't do good, then you can play Discipline to reroll. Then he can possibly use his ability. I mean, if you keep rerolling, you may do 6 damage off of this, which is absolutely insane. But that's Duke. Guy gets in there and he takes care of business. Real American Hero, 3 energy power card. And I'm just going to call them power cards because they're not all power weapons. Some of them are, as you can see here, is just Duke being Duke. 3 energy, 5 dice attack. The next time any hero performs an attack during this battle, add 2 dice to that attack. So again, any hero performs an attack. So there could be a follow-up from this from Duke himself. He has 5 damage or 5 dice that can go in. And he's knocking us, ringing Cobra Commander's bell right here, as you can see. And then he can use charge, which then is a 4 dice 0 cost attack, which does have the reroll on it as well. Real American Hero does not have any rerolls to it. That's fine. I can see it being broken if it did. But man, such an awesome ability. 3 energy, 5 dice, and then adding 2 more dice to the next attack. Looking after his field, looking after his soldiers. That's what Duke is all about. Lastly, Yo Joe. This is a card that's going to appear in every one of the Joe's decks. And I'm going to show that every time, regardless. The card is exactly the same. It looks exactly the same, other than that their name is in like the bottom left. So it says Duke down there. This is the X cost card. Attack special. It is an attack. This attack deals an amount of damage equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. You may divide energy among any number of targets. So that means the more energy you pump into it, the more damage it does, and you can spread it out amongst all the enemies that are on the field. Now, this is an attack. Everything is targeted, so you have to be careful because you can't get past guard. And when this energy or when this damage goes onto the field, the cards are not resolved, and then you can keep placing damage. All the damage has to go down at once. So guard cards will effectively protect anything on their left, right, up, and down, depending on where they are, from any splash damage from Yo Joe, unless you have an ability that ignores guards. And I believe you'll find some of that in the other Joes, but that'll be when I get to him. Speaking of which, let's head on to the next one. Shauna M. O'Hara, codename Scarlett, a martial arts master trained by her 3 brothers and father since the age of 9. Scarlett is an extremely talented soldier. After enlisting in the army, she underwent all sorts of special training. Ranger school, covert ops, marine sniping, and Taekwondo, finally settling on intelligence work. Despite all her deadly skill and serious work, she still manages to have a sense of humor. Scarlett's special ability, counterintelligence. Once per battle, any hero may look at the top card of their deck and swap it with the card in their hand. Scarlett is all about being in the know and having as much information as possible. Being able to see the top of your deck is extremely helpful, especially if you're in a situation where you know you're either going to get hit by a big attack or you're looking to do a big attack against the enemy. Scarlett's deck breaks down into 1 X energy, 6 0 energy, 2 1 energy, and 1 3 energy cards. She has 6 attacks, 2 maneuvers, 2 reactions, and she actually has a Type C deck. She only has 1 shield, 1 3 shield, and 8 2 shield cards within her deck. In addition to that, she has 2 special star defense cards within the deck as well. Scarlett is all types of awesome. She has so many different things in her deck to prepare her for virtually anything that you can figure out for the battle. She is all business. 0 cost, 2 dice attack, just like Duke, which is awesome. Any hero may look at the top card of their deck and swap it with a card in their hand. Also, just like Duke, it's another play for her special ability. It's just this time she's able to do an attack on top of it. It's awesome that they have that like power within them to not only give the Joes like a special ability of their own, swapping the cards and this, that, and whatnot, but then she can just go ahead and do it again for somebody else. Maybe all the other Joes know what's on top of their deck, or somebody just isn't really happy with their hand. She can then just use this card after using her ability at one point during the game, and then do the same thing. Take a look at the top card and do the swap. All that type of intelligence and knowledge and whatnot is extremely useful for the Joes. This way they can build up their combos and figure out exactly what cards they want to play during what turn, who's going to take what damage, and ultimately how to beat Cobra at their own game. Plus again, 0 cost, 2 dice, never a bad thing. Scarlett's also able to make split decisions, very much like Duke. Her and Duke can be swapped in and around for each other most of the time during like the TV show or in the comics or things along that way. Scarlett is amazing. Oh God, I love her. This is a very wordy card. 0 cost reaction card. Play this card when any hero suffers damage. That hero may look at the top card of their deck and they may swap it with a card in their hand. I believe that happens before the damage comes in. So you could have an attack coming at you that's doing 2 damage, and you know that somebody has a 3 shield card in their hand. You could play split decision in order to swap that with whatever's on top. At that point, it doesn't matter what's on top of the deck. They just take it, swap it in, flip the defense card over, 3 damage, from 2, and then it goes on the bottom and they stay in the game. So it's something like that where it's like, oh no, here comes something, quickly go into the defensive stance. Speaking of defensive, this also has her star defense power. When this card is revealed for defense, gain 1 energy. Simple, easy, good to know. Also, never a bad thing to be able to gain energy. This is one of those, again, where it's like, it's 2 shield. Most of her cards in her deck are 2 shield. If she wanted to do this to herself, if like 2 damage is coming at her, or only like 1 damage or something like that, and the Joes need some energy in order to do something big, have herself use her ability to swap, put this on top of her deck, reveal, boom, there's another energy for the pool. Using a lot of her specialties that we talked about in her intro, Taekwondo Mastery, 0 cost maneuver card, gain 1 energy. Choose 2 cards from your discard pile, which is just Scarlett, and return them to the top of your deck in any order. Again, a lot of her are all just 2 shield cards, so it's kind of expected that as bigger attacks come in, she's going to be losing cards a little bit more frequently than other Joes, because 2 shields actually does kind of eat up really like a lot faster than being able to flip over that 1 3 shield exactly when you need it and it goes to the bottom. So at least with Taekwondo Mastery, even if she's taking a lot of damage, she's able to pull cards back into her deck and able to take more hits. Plus, she can take the split decision card and put that on top as well to gain even more energy, because this gains an energy, that gains an energy, and then a lot of 2 shields can go around in order to be able to get as much defense as possible. Now, you can boost those shields, which is never a bad thing, in order to make them 3 shields or more, but I think a lot of these 2 shields work well for it, and then Taekwondo Mastery is good again to keep her coming back into the game over and over again. This artwork on these cards are absolutely crazy. I love this. Skilled Sniper, exactly what she is. 1 energy, 3 dice attack. Ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. She's a sniper. She's able to get around guards. She's able to get around corners and everything along that way. Sneak out and find hidden enemies behind other ones. It's exactly what you're looking at here. 1 energy for 3 dice. Pretty good, pretty decent. That's a great average style for dice to energy ratio. And again, this is when she is choosing her target. She can ignore the guard, which is amazing. How many times have you played, if you've played these games, whether it be this or Heroes of the Grid, where you have a guard card down that's blocking that 1 passive that's just screwing you over and over and over again? Skilled Sniper has the ability to take that thing out, 1 shot, boom, off the board. Her power card is a power weapon of sorts. The XK1 Power Crossbow, which I don't know if this is a real weapon. I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the comments below. If it is, that is absolutely awesome. 3 energy, what do we got? 6 dice, 6 dice attack. And once again, ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. This is your boss killer. This is the one where you're going to want to play this in order to be able to get around a boss card to hit a passive that is just causing all types of havoc and mayhem for your characters throughout the game. This is also a card because it's her only 3 shield in her deck, where maybe you'd want to throw this on top. The power crossbow is good offensively, it's good defensively. And that's actually what Scarlett is. She has so many capabilities to her, so much training in all these different fields and everything. Every mission should have Scarlett on the team regardless. And she's just, God, I wish I could just play with every one of these characters in every one of these games, because Scarlett would 100% be there. But you know what? Man, she's so good. So good. And of course, her Yo-Jo card, exactly the same thing as you saw in Duke. Exactly the same thing as the Blade Blaster, by the way, from Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. It's the exact same style of card. It's a special attack card. It uses energy in order to do an X amount of damage and whatnot. And you can spread that damage among different targets. But again, because it's a targeted attack, it does not bypass guard. Unfortunately, even though Scarlett has cards in her deck that bypass that, she can't choose the next card to bypass guard or get rid of a keyword that's on the field. So unfortunately, Yo-Jo is another one of those where you have to wait until you either get rid of the guard cards completely or find a way to add ignore guard to this or get rid of it some other way. Lonzo R. Wilkinson, codename Stalker, a former gang leader from the streets of Detroit. That lifestyle tempered Stalker into a ferocious fighter and leader capable of controlling rambunctious men. Stalker was the first one recruited by Hawk to the Joe team and became one of the most trusted men tasked with leading squads into their missions. He is also fluent in a variety of languages, including French, Arabic, and Swahili, meaning Stalker is a hard man to fool. Special ability, Adaptive Ranger. Once per battle, when any hero reveals a card with a star ability for defense, deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Stalker has a lot in his deck, which I'm going to go over in a little bit, and you're actually going to find them in CoverGirl as well. In fact, most of the Joes that I've been seeing come out have star defense powers within their decks. It is, again, once per battle, and it's only 1 damage to an enemy card, but it's an enemy card of your choice. It can bypass guard, so if you just need that 1 damage in order to knock out a soldier, knock out a passive or whatever, Stalker's your man to do it. His deck breaks down to 1 X energy, 4 0 energy, 4 1 energy, and 1 3 energy cards. He has 6 attacks, 2 maneuvers, 2 reactions, the standard type A 3/4/3 shield breakdown, and out of the 10 cards in his deck, 5 of them have star defense powers. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't know much about Stalker at all when I went into this. I thought that it was weird having him here instead of maybe Roadblock or Tunnel Rat, someone who I've seen the name pop up more than his name. But then again, the more I did the research on him, the more I saw his backstory and everything, which is all coming from his Real American Hero card on the back of his original toy and whatnot. I understand why he is here. And he is a welcome addition to these core 5, especially with his Squad Tactics card, 0 cost maneuver card, gain 1 energy, another hero may immediately play an additional card. Simple, easy, to the point, and really it's just him saying there, yo, do your thing, let's go, here's some motivation, which is in the form of energy, let's get this done. And I believe that is exactly what Stalker is like. He is there to keep his troops focused, keep them on their task at hand, and no matter how difficult the things may seem, no matter how horrible the situation is or whatever, Stalker will always have that attitude, that strength, and that confidence to him where he's like, let's go, we're doing this now. Next, Pulverizer. 0 cost, 2 dice attack. It's all it is right there. If you're just going to play it from your hand, it's the star power. If this card is revealed for defense, deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Again, there you go. That is his special ability that is on his character card being translated into a card in his deck. I love that. I love that ability because there's a lot of, when I'm playing Heroes of the Grid, there's a lot of Rangers in there that have that great once per battle ability to them. That is just that. You're going to use it, you're going to play it, and then that's it for the rest of the battle. I love how someone like Stalker, or any of these Joes so far, we did Scarlett, Duke, and Stalker, where their special abilities not only can be used at any time just by using it part of their once per turn battle, but if you happen to have the card in your hand that triggers it again, boom, that is awesome. This is then revealed for defense. It's kind of the same thing because his says if a star defense card is revealed, deal 1 damage. This is if revealed for defense, 1 damage. Heck, this will do 2 damage to a single card of your choice because you can use his special ability in conjunction with the Pulverizer and smash any item or any character, any foot soldier, any whatever you want on the field for do damage, no questions asked. Blitz'em, 1 energy reaction card. Play this card at the start of a battle. The heroes may either ignore the fast keyword to take the first hit in battle or deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Problem with this card is right at the beginning, at the start of a battle. You need to have this in your hand in order to be able to play it at the start of battle. After that, there's really no point to having this card at all, and you're going to want Scarlett on your team in order to be able to get it out of your hand and put it on top of your deck, because otherwise it's a waste of a card in your hand. You can't do anything with it. You can't activate anything. It's a great 3 shield card, don't get me wrong, but if you don't play it at the beginning of the turn, you can't ignore the fast keyword, which is absolutely clutch when it comes to fighting bosses and monsters and everything, to be able to get that first turn. Generally, they're going to take it from you, so to get it back is amazing. Or deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice, because that's what Stalker does. He goes in there and fires off his weapons at all these different characters. Doesn't matter if they're guarded, doesn't matter if they're hidden, doesn't matter where they are. He is firing at them and doing as much damage as he can spread around. Sergeant Stalker, 1 energy, 3 dice attack. Again, that's it. That's all the card is. If you're going to play it from your hand, you're paying 1 energy, doing 3 dice attack. I've said before, that's pretty average in terms of energy to dice attack ratio. Doesn't do anything else. It's the star ability. If this card is revealed for defense, gain 1 energy. Again, it's all about him and directing the troops in order to be able to do other things later. He is a much better support character, at least in my opinion, than like Duke or other leader type characters. Duke is awesome. He'll go out there and he'll just attack. Stalker, you really don't want to draw much cards from his deck in the beginning of the game. Hopefully, if you happen to get Blitz'em right in the beginning, that would have been awesome. If the first card you draw is Blitz'em, I would have stopped drawing cards right there, because you play that card in the beginning, and then you're like, all right, everyone, let's do this. Let them come at me. You keep flipping him over to do his star defense powers. He'll do damage. He'll affect the other heroes on your team. Absolutely amazing. Stalker, leader to the core. All right, power attack. Time to kick some butt. I love it how he's standing there with his like machine grenade launcher thing, taking on a Rattler, which is that giant ship up there. Oh, that's amazing. 3 energy, 5 dice attack. Again, that's it. That's all it does if you're playing this from your hand. Doesn't do anything else. That's pretty much what you would expect from a power card or whatever, but it has no extra like specialties to it, which is a little annoying unless you reveal it for defense. You may add it to your hand instead of discarding it or placing it on the bottom of your deck. So that means you're going to reveal this for defense. You're going to hit that with 3 damage, boom, boom, boom. That's really it. And then this can come to your hand or placing it on the bottom of the deck. Okay, yeah, so there you go. Reveal for the deck. You may add it to your hand instead of discarding it or placing it on the bottom of your deck. You're going to just keep it. You just keep it and that's it. So it either goes to the bottom of your deck regardless of anything, comes to your hand so you can put it back on. It's absolutely, wow, that's really cool. Actually, now that I reread that a few times, because it just keeps him there. It keeps him strong. It keeps him defensively like powerful, because he'll be able to take the hits as they come at him, like from a fighter jet right there. And then, of course, he can keep drawing other cards from his deck, using those star defense powers and boosting the squad. Speaking of the squad, Yo Joe. Seen it before. There it is, his name down in the bottom corner. Stalker. I like how this image has all 5 of the core members on it. You have Duke, Scarlett, Snake Eyes, CoverGirl, and Stalker all on here. I don't know if this is a picture from the comics. I haven't been able to find that. If one of you guys happen to know that, let me know down in the comment section below. This could have been just an edit made by Renegade, which is absolutely awesome. I always like the cards that appear in like the Ranger deck, like Ranger team cards and everything, to be a little bit more unique for each one of the Rangers in them. This works for Yo Joe because it actually has each one of the Joes from the core set. So if this is all you have, this is all that's on the card. And I really do appreciate that, and I like that. You're not seeing any other random Joes on here. It's just the 5 that you have, the 5 that are here, and they're all cheering each other on, able to take down Cobra. Courtney A. Krieger, codename CoverGirl. Former fashion model who graced the covers of countless magazines, CoverGirl found the world of modeling unfulfilling and joined the army to seek out new challenges in life. She was driven to master distinctly unfeminine traits in order to prove that she was not just a pretty face. Proving to be highly knowledgeable in diesel mechanics and gas turbine technology, she preferred being covered in grease and sweat over makeup and glam, and has never felt happier in her life. Her special ability? Tank Driver. Once per battle, use a vehicle for -1 cost. that is possibly one of the single best abilities you are going to get out of the Core 5. Why? Because vehicles are amazing. They are what you're going to be needing quite often in order to be able to take down the bigger enemies within Mission Critical, like your lieutenants, your nemesis, and your bosses, and to be able to reduce those costs by anything, whether it be 1 or 2, if you have Duke on the team or whatever like that, is it's invaluable. Like, you will absolutely love to use this ability. You would want to use it more than once per battle. I wish you could use it more than once per battle. CoverGirl's deck breaks down to 1x energy, 6-0 energy, 2-1 energy, and 1-3 energy cards. She has 6 attacks, 2 maneuvers, 2 reactions, a Type A 3/4/3 shield breakdown, and 2 of her cards have special star defenses to them. CoverGirl was a Joe that I didn't know that I knew. The problem with it is I'm seeing her with blonde hair here. All of her pictures and everything that you're going to have and you're going to see on this side have her in her blonde hair form, and I showed you a lot of those. But really, when she was on the Sunbow cartoon and everything, she was a short-haired redhead. And then also, if you go through a few other incarnations of CoverGirl, she was short redhead, short blonde, long blonde. I mean, she's a model. She's always changing her look and everything like that. But it was a little confusing trying to figure out who she was at first. And I'm like, oh, wait, I do know her, but didn't realize that I knew her because they took the blonde version of her, which is fine and all that other good stuff. Anyway, she is what she is. Beautiful driving, beautiful lady behind the wheel, ready to take names and fire on them. 0 cost, 2 dice attack. If a vehicle was already used this battle, add 1 die to this attack. You will most likely have a vehicle used with her immediately because of her special ability. Unfortunately, I don't think that appears in any one of her cards, getting able to reduce the vehicles by more. But if she's fighting along in conjunction with Duke, he can roll out to -1. She can use 1 to minus another 1 to use a vehicle for -2. And then beautiful driving to add a 3rd dice to a 0 cost energy and a 0 cost card attack. Oh boy. Armored Advance, 0 cost reaction card. Play this card when any hero suffers damage. Discard and replace 1 vehicle from the power board and reduce the damage by that vehicle's cost. She is all about the vehicles. If you love the vehicle mechanic within Mission Critical, which personally I do, I love the Zords. Don't get me wrong. Zords are amazing. They have a lot of great qualities and a lot of great things to them. I love seeing what each one of them can do and having the new cards now that can unexhaust them and use them again. But in G.I. Joe, the vehicles themselves, I love the mechanic. I love being able to have access to super strong things right in the beginning. And CoverGirl here is the one that you would want to use if you are a vehicle user. Especially with this one. It's a reaction that if you have a 5 cost vehicle in your tableau or whatever, you can discard it in order to be able to reduce the incoming damage by 5. It doesn't count as being used, so you wouldn't be able to use that other one. It would just discard it and then it would be reduced. But still, having the ability to know that you have that much energy or attack reduction at your hands at any time is absolutely amazing, because that could really make the difference between a Joe going down or staying in the fight and winning it for the team. Engineering Victory, 0 cost maneuver card. Replace 1 empty slot on the power board with a vehicle card. Gain 1 energy and deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. There's a lot going on in that card, and every bit of it is absolutely amazing. So if you watch my tutorial about how you do the vehicles, vehicles do not get replaced on the power board until the cleanup phase of the battle, which is the very, very end of the battle. So even if she used her armor advance to remove 1, even if you use the vehicle or whatever, those slots would stay empty on the power board until the end of the battle. Not with Engineering Victory. She is then able to take the top card, throw it right back on, and be able to use vehicles just cycling through them or whatever. Probably the best to use when there's no more within the stack, because then you just shuffle the discard pile and you have a good chance of throwing something really good that you've used before back on. And then, of course, you gain an energy and you deal damage to an enemy card of your choice. Ignore guard, ignore whatever else is around it because it's your choice. Fantastic. I love it. Amazing. We haven't even gotten to her star defense yet. Hey, look, here it is. Tank Girl. Wasn't there a movie by that name? Pretty sure there was. 1 energy, 3 dice attack. That's really it. That's all it does. If you're just going to play it from your hand, 1 energy, 3 dice, boom. Star defense power. This gains 1 shield. So in your hand and in your discard pile, this is a 1 shield card. This is what you have to remember for recovery and whatnot. This will always count as a 1 shield. However, if you happen to reveal this card as your defense, then boom, this is a 2 shield card. Effectively meaning that she only has 1 shield card in her deck. She then has, 2 more 6 2 shields and 3 3 shields, which is massively defensive for a character. And that's what happens whenever you reveal this. It becomes a 1 shield to a 2 shield. taking more damage, taking more hits, and like the tank that she is, rolling over the enemy. CoverGirl's power card, Explosive Payload. I'm saying it's a power card because it's not the vehicle that's on here. 3 energy, special attack. Very cool this way. Discard 1 vehicle from the power board. This card deals an amount of damage equal to that vehicle's cost. You may divide these damage among any number of targets. So it's like her Yo-Jo, but she's able to use it with the vehicle costs. There are 4 cost vehicles, there are 5 cost vehicles within the core set. So that means you can pay 3 energy, discard 1 of those, and then be able to deal whatever that damage is among any number of targets that you choose. Again, targets, so you got to watch out for the guard. This will not be able to get around guard cards. But and regardless of anything, that's still some pretty good. If you have a card or 2 on there that only need if you have 3 cards on there that need 1 damage a piece on this, use Explosive Payload, take 1 of the 3 cost ones, and then boom, 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 they are gone from the board. Yes, it's 3 energy. It's a little expensive if you're only going to be using it for maybe 3 damage or so, but it's kind of a guaranteed thing and you're able to spread it. So I kind of can see where the positives of this outweigh the negatives. Plus it's a 3 shield. So even if you don't use it and Scarlett's on your team, throw it on top and just give her more defense that way. Yo-Jo, there she is in the background, right next to Stalker. We've seen this already. There's her name down in the bottom corner. There's not really much more that I can say about this, other than this is her only 1 shield card in the deck that can't be manipulated into more shields. I'm sure that there's other cards or things along that ways that'll be able to do that as well, making CoverGirl a real tank, which is amazing to me. It's amazing that you have the female characters as tanks. I love them so much. That's why I love, what is that? Cat from Zeo. Zeo Ranger 1 Pink is a tank. She is absolutely amazing. She takes so much damage and is able to send it back. CoverGirl is kind of the same way. She doesn't shoot damage back at the enemies whenever they come at her. She's all about the vehicles and getting them out faster and being able to use them to her advantage. But again, she can take a hit and keep on licking, which is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite characters within the Core 5 because, again, I'm a big vehicle user. Real name, Classified. Code name, Snake Eyes. One of the most mysterious and dangerous Joes, Snake Eyes served as a recon ranger in the jungles of Southeast Asia. All that can be said after that stint is that he went on a long sabbatical, most believing to Japan. Some say he was training with the same ninja clan that Storm Shadow belonged to, but it's not fully known. What is known is that his fighting skills have become more efficient and deadly. Rumors surfaced that when he was recruited by Hawk, he was hunting rabbits at the time, with his bare hands. The ability card that comes with Snake Eyes in the core box is Solo Operator. During each battle, add 1 die to each of your attacks until another hero plays a combat card. This is very similar from what I saw from Merrick that came out not too long ago for Heroes of the Grid, where he got a discount for his cards as he was playing them until somebody else played a card. Same thing for Snake Eyes here. As long as he's doing the front run attacking and everything, he will add an additional dice to every one of his attacks until another hero plays a card. I was a little worried about this because I didn't know how it would work in solo mode, but actually that works fantastic. In addition to that, you can find the Retro Snake Eyes promo pack on the Renegade website, which would give you an alternate sculpt to Snake Eyes along with a new special ability. This one is Legendary Commando. Once per battle, when any hero rolls 2 or more miss results during an attack, you may deal 3 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Basically, he's taking advantage of any one of the other heroes completely whiffing their attack as a distraction for him to get down behind the enemy and deal some major damage. 3 damage to an enemy card of your choice means that you could easily take out a foot soldier in 1 shot should a hero completely miss with whatever they are attacking with. Regardless, Snake Eyes' deck is the same. You'll find 1 X energy, 4 0 cost, 4 1 energy, and 1 3 cost energy cost in his deck. He has 6 attacks and 4 reactions, no maneuvers, and is the standard 3/4/3 Type 1 shield breakdown. I'm sure a lot of you were waiting for this one because Snake Eyes is possibly one of the most popular characters in the G.I. Joe franchise. So let's get right into all of his awesome BA cards. Stealth Takedown, 0 cost, 2 dice attack. If this attack defeats a foot soldier, return this card to your hand instead of discarding it. He has a lot of cards that focuses around foot soldiers. He wants to get in there and take them out, probably because they're easy kills. You know, they don't have very many health, 2, 3 health, maybe 4, depending on certain ones. And a 0 cost 2 dice attack is probably enough to be able to take down at least a 2 health one. Give or take, yes or no problem, who knows. But if he happens to miss completely and roll 2 misses, he can use the legendary commando ability, if you're using that, in order to deal 3 damage to something else. Or if he's the first one playing a card, this is a 3 dice attack instead of 2. A lot of different options when it comes to Snake Eyes if you have both this and the retro pack that, again, you can find on the Renegade website. Moving on to a reaction card, Deadly Counter, 0 cost reaction. Play this card when any hero reveals a card for defense. Add 1 shield to that card and deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Absolutely awesome because it'll add shields to cards coming in. Hey, you can make CoverGirl's 1 shield now a 2 shield. So now she has no 1 shield cards in her deck. And then, of course, the deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice is something that we've seen a lot throughout all of these Joes, mostly in Stalker. CoverGirl had a few as well. This ability to just hit things regardless of where they are on the field is absolutely amazing because it enables you to kind of control the battlefield a little bit more by spreading out the damage to where it needs to be rather than being restricted by any cards that guard other cards or passives that may take it away or something along that way. So these type of attacks are a great thing to have. And of course, again, they are your choice. They bypass guard. This one adds a shield and it's just a reaction. So you do it on the spot. Coordinated Strike, 1 energy reaction card. Play this card when another hero performs an attack. Deal 1 damage to an enemy card other than the target. This is one where he drops down from the shadows, as you can probably see right there, and attacks somebody else, which is a little weird in contrast to what the image is, because he's definitely, that might be Stalker there, dropping in and hitting the enemy that's trying to hit Stalker, that you figure that he's the one that he's engaged with. Instead, this just goes to another damage somewhere else. Which again, because of all of the abilities within all of the Joes in the core set to just spread damage around, 1 hit here, 1 hit there, boom, 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 this could actually easily take down a card that you've been stacking a lot of damage tokens on throughout the course of the game. The problem is a lot of this stuff is it's all kind of as the game goes on. So you really have to keep in mind any damage coming into the Joes, making sure everyone survives. And then, of course, things going from the deck into the discard pile, getting them back healthy again, and then making sure that every hit counts because you don't want to stack up all of this damage all over the place and then all of a sudden the battles end and you haven't beaten anybody. I apologize for the pronunciation of these next 2 cards. So here we go. Mikimoto Blade. I hope that's right. 1 energy, 1 dice attack. Hold on. After you resolve this attack, you may perform a second attack with 2 dice. Now, here's the thing with something like this. Wording is very important. The first attack is a single dice attack. This can be enhanced with other things. I think Duke had one where he was able to add a dice to the next attack. This would go to that attack. So now you're having a 2 dice attack right there. After that, you perform a second attack with 2 dice. If you're attacking an enemy, say you get that extra dice from Duke, say this is the first card you're playing. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter because Duke would have played a card before you anyway. Regardless, you have 2 dice going against an enemy and you have beaten them with that 2 dice. The next attack you do can target a different card because it's its own attack. It has the ability to be enhanced by other cards. It has its ability to be manipulated if you're doing dice changes and things along that ways. It's a 2 attack card for 1 energy. Yes, the first attack is 1 dice. Kind of wish it was 2 dice and then another 2 dice attack, but there's ways to get around that. There's ways that you can do that. And even if you play this first, at least then you have 2 dice and then another 2 dice attack. If you think you can beat something with this, use it, because then at least you can start wearing down another card later down in the attack line. Oh gosh. Arashikage mindset? Arashikage. I keep pronouncing it the same way, so I'm going to roll with that. I'm sure you guys will let me know how bad that is. I apologize. I'm sorry. 3 energy, 2 dice attack. Again, hold on. After you resolve this attack, perform a second attack with 2 dice, then perform a third attack with 2 dice. So just like the Mikimoto Blade, where it was 1 dice and then 2, this is 2, 2, 2, and each one of these attacks are its own thing. You can, if you want, spread this around to multiple enemies, pending guard and all that other stuff, because guard is, going to be protecting other things because these are all targeted attacks. You could do 2 dice on one, 2 dice on another, then go back to the first one and do 2 dice again. It really all depends on how you want to be able to use Snake Eyes' ability in order to go from card to card to card, knocking out foot soldiers, which should be pretty easy, which I assume that's what this is. He's in a trance right here, putting up one of the cool little hand singles, whatnot, and then you have all the ninjas coming at him, and then I'm sure he's just pop, 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 dead, dead, dead. as would be expected from the awesome ninja that Snake Eyes is. And then again, each one of these attacks can be enhanced separately should you have the abilities to do that from your other Joes. So powerful power attack right here. Again, I hope I pronounced that right. But man, Snake Eyes is just brutal with all of his attacks. Yo, Joe. Unfortunately, Snake Eyes does not talk, so he just puts his fist up in the air and goes along for the ride with the whole call and whatnot. But hey, he's there. He's doing it. He is part of the team. I remember in, I think it was the cartoon and whatnot, Scarlett and Snake Eyes were like best friends. I mean, she was also best friends with Duke, but there was something between her and Snake Eyes that was always like, it felt very brother, sisterly like and everything. And I think the writers really wanted her to be with Duke and whatnot. But the two of them worked together very well. And she had one of those abilities to just know what he was thinking at all times, even though he never spoke. I also don't remember Snake Eyes all that much in the cartoon, but I know that he was in there in the beginning. But either way, awesome card, awesome character. Let's move on to those vehicles. Vehicles are their own thing in Mission Critical. They are not tied to any particular Joe. So if you have the core set and a few expansions or whatever, you can have any vehicle you want in the game in addition to any Joe. I mean, granted, in Heroes of the Grid, you could do the same thing as well. Nothing stopping you from having Zords from other like teams mixing in with whatever you're playing. It's your game. Do whatever you want. But it is highly recommended that if you use certain Zords, you should have the Ranger in order to accompany it because, you know, it's their Zord. They pilot it, all things like that. But in the G.I. Joe world, anybody can pilot anything, which is awesome. Let us start with our first vehicle here, the Ram, the rapid fire motorcycle, which is, I guess, rapid attack motorcycle or something along that ways, RAM. Costs 2 foot soldiers in order to activate. Use this card after a hero plays a card to return that card to their hand instead of discarding it. You have a hero playing something really powerful that you'd love to be able to use again next turn or in conjunction with another turn or something along that ways. Activate your Ram. It's only 2, so you should have plenty of foot soldiers in order to be able to do that at any notice. And then again, instead of you discarding the card, come back to your hand. That's amazing. There's tons of cards in this game where it'd be great to be able to play it over and over and over again rather than discarding it. Heck, if you watch any of my playthroughs for Heroes of the Grid, I love those cards that bounce back to my hand after using them because it's like, use it here, use it here. It's like a guaranteed attack, and you can use that to whittle away enemies, especially near the end of a battle. Next, the MMS, the Mobile Missile System. And that is an awesome, I love CoverGirl's face there. She's all like so excited because something is just going to go boom. 3 soldier costs in order to play the MMS. Use this card after an enemy card is defeated by an attack. Deal excess damage from that attack to a different enemy card. So if you're attacking something with 5 dice, for example, and you roll 5 dice and you only need 2 or 3 hits in order to defeat it, and you roll, I don't know, 10 hits, the maximum that can do. Very low chance of that happening, but you know, whatever. Activate your MMS and then spread that damage around. Let me just see. Deal excess damage to that card to a different enemy card. It's not a target. You can bypass guard with this. It doesn't say anything about targeting. It's just deal excess damage from that attack to a different enemy card. Goes to any enemy card you want, but it's only one enemy. So whatever you have left over from that attack, that's what goes to that next enemy. So even if you only have 2 or 3 left over, be good to be able to put a few extra damage on just a foot soldier or a monster, or I should say lieutenant. I'm in crossover mode now. And then use one of the countless Joe abilities that we've seen through this video that deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. The MNS starts the takedown of that particular card, and then the Joes finish it. Next, we have the Wolverine Armored Missile Vehicle. This is actually based on an M50 Ontos tank destroyer, which actually looks just as like cartoonish as this thing. These are things I found out online. They're absolutely amazing, the research and the information you get while doing this stuff. 4 foot soldiers are needed in order to summon the Wolverine into battle. Use this card at the start of any hero turn to immediately defeat 1 foot soldier. This is the start of a hero turn. This is not the start of a battle. So you can use this at any point as you go along. If you're trying to get this 1 card out of there, if you're trying to get a passive or anything like that, and you're doing your best in this job not working, use the Wolverine to just knock it out of the battle. And this is immediately defeat a foot soldier. So in a sense, this card is giving you a return of 1. So you're spending the 4 to gain 3 or to gain 1 back. So ideally it's 3. Not bad to have because you're going to be able to use that 1 on something else later. Just keep in mind, you only have 3 vehicles per battle to use. unless you have CoverGirl who's like, nope, I want more vehicles in the mix. Vehicle, attack, multi-purpose. That is your vamp, which I've also seen attack vehicle multi-purpose or something like that. VAMP, I just like it better that way. If you're familiar with the G.I. Joe deck builder, you're always going to have the vamp in the hangar with you, no matter what game you play. I mentioned that because the deck builder will be on this channel at some point. This 4 soldier cost card is also the only passive here in G.I. Joe Mission Critical. Until the end of this battle, each time a hero performs an attack, they may re-roll 1 die. Ideally, you're going to want to purchase this right in the beginning of battle because passives stay active for the entire battle once you have acquired that vehicle. And this is each time a hero performs an attack, they may re-roll 1 dice. So it doesn't matter how many dice you're rolling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 itself, you only get to re-roll 1 dice. And this is actually something that's really helpful if you have Duke in there, because you can re-roll a ton of dice, and then instead of like really worried about using his ability to re-roll 1 or 2 dice, if the vamp is activated, just use that ability. Boom, got it right there, done. And then each time a hero performs an attack, so that means on every hero attack, every time they perform an attack, they can re-roll 1. Thinking about that, that's amazing with Snake Eyes, because a lot of his cards, as you saw, are multi-attacks. Each one is its own separate thing, so regardless, you would get at least a 1 dice reroll on each one of those attacks. The things you think about as you're going through these cards. A flak, the Field Light Attack Cannon. That's cannon with a K, by the way, like a Mortal Kombat attack. It is what it is. I'm just telling you what I find out, guys. 4 foot soldier cost. Use this card before a hero rolls dice for an attack to add 3 dice to that attack. That is awesome. That is totally worth 4 foot soldiers on your board to be able to add 3 dice to an attack, especially an attack that either ignores guard, or you have multiple attacks to it, or you just want to be able to defeat an enemy where it's like, you have like 7 health, I have 4 dice. Let's just make it 7 dice to really open up the odds in order to be able to beat it. That is absolutely amazing. If you have the foot soldiers, this is a card that I would definitely make sure you use as much as you can, because adding dice to an attack, as I just mentioned, is the key to victory in a lot of like the later fights in the game, because you have those lieutenants that have a lot of health, you have the bosses that have a ridiculous amount of health, and 3 more dice added to it. Even if you're only getting 2 extra damage, that could be all you need in order to knock it out and win the battle or even the game. The last vehicle that you're going to find is the MOBAT, the Multi-Ordnance Battle Tank. 5, you got that right, 5 foot soldiers, so use CoverGirl and Duke's abilities to reduce that. Roll 5 dice and deal the damage rolled to an enemy card of your choice. Straight up, one big fire cannon right in the face of something. Boss killer is what I like to refer to these as, because that is enough damage in order to be able to take down some strong card that you're up against, lieutenants or nemesis or whatever like that. It is expensive. It is a lot that you're going to have to work towards in order to be able to get it. But by the time you're ready to use this card within the game, you're going to have that many foot soldiers on the board, or at least have the ability to do that. Always keep in mind also with the vehicles, foot soldiers are limited as well. You're only going to be distributing a certain amount every turn. And then as you use them, then they're really not going to replenish as fast. But at the same time, on the flip side of that coin, use them or lose them, because if your board is full, you can't keep stacking foot soldiers on it. So keep in mind that as you're going through, use your vehicle reduction powers in order to be able to get out powerful attacks like the MOBAT. And let me tell you, the Joes and all their vehicles will definitely roll their way to victory. Man, these guys are awesome. Love it. And there you have it, everybody. G.I. Joe Mission Critical Core Set Joes. Telling you, this is a very, very strong opening right out of the gate. Absolutely amazing. Some amazing characters that they chose in order to be released within this core set. Some great abilities. And then, of course, like, again, the vehicles themselves, man. I love the vehicles in this. I love everything that they can do and the way that you would need to use them and kind of strategize with them throughout your battles and the entire game that you're going to play when you go up against the evil forces of Cobra. Now I turn it over to you. What did you think of the Joes that I showed off here from the core set? Do you have Mission Critical? Have you played this at all before? And what do you think of it, especially compared to Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid? The games themselves play virtually the same regardless of anything, but there's a lot of like different things about it, like Mission Critical, that stand it out compared to Heroes of the Grid. Not only just the vehicles, but the way each one of the Joes work and what they bring to the table. Guys, I look very forward to playing this game for you in my sessions that I have normally done and everything. I just want you to keep in mind, I got a newborn, I got 2 kids under 5. It's the middle of the summer right now, so vacations are a little bit like on the boards and whatnot. So just bear with me with the limited time that I have in order to be able to get that session done. I would love to have it out by the end of August, but if it has to go to September, then that just kind of have it the way it is. But rest assured, my next long session that I'm going to be doing is going to be with G.I. Joe Mission Critical, the core set. I'm going to pick one of these 3 you know what? I'm going to have you do this. If you made it this far into the video, let me know which one of these is your favorite. I'm going to keep that an eye on the comment section down below, kind of an unofficial poll of sorts. And whichever one you guys say that you like the most will be one that is going to be guaranteed in that session. And then I'm going to put a poll out later for you guys in order to be able to check that out and then determine other members of that team. Because on the solo mode, you get 3 into the battle. I got 5 here technically, even though 6 with Snake Eyes. So I'd like to give you guys a voice about what it is that you'd like to see. Meaning that if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Home Gamer Dad so you don't miss any future G.I. Joe Mission Critical action or any other fun video that I happen to put out for you to enjoy. If you wish to support the channel even further, super thanks are always absolutely appreciated. You can find them down in the description area of YouTube down below. You can also head on over to patreon.com/HomeGamerDad and then join the growing Patreon family over there. That's actually going to give you access to multiple voting options. Even at the lowest tier, I will have a vote on the community tab for Home Gamer Dad, and then that same vote will be on the Patreon. So you are going to get 2 votes in anything that I happen to put out, which is even more of a voice for you to be able to see the things that you want to see on this channel and for me to do what it is that you guys enjoy. Regardless of anything, you watching this video, giving it a like, adding your comments, sharing it, all that other stuff is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much. You are so, I can't express my joy so much to be able to finally get into this game and show it off for you. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to this. So until then, take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. Soldier, grab your gear because we're going to go ahead and defend the world at all costs. Stay frosty, dismissed.